The Scottish and UK governments are both currently considering a ban on disposable single-use vapes over concerns about children's health. Is this justified, or should we take an alternative approach? We brought together Sheila Duffy, who's the Chief Executive of the health charity Ash Scotland, and Pete Cheema, who's head of the Scottish Grocers Federation, which today called for a more nuanced debate and outlined measures which they think would help reduce vaping among the young.
Look, we recognise that some of the products, appeal to children, and we want to make sure that the vaping companies recognise that, that they change their attitude towards that. We want to make the packaging less appealing to children, and we also recognise that there are probably retailers out there that are selling products to children. And we want to stop that. And we want the policymakers to take action. We realise that we've got to get our house in order. We realise also that the producers have got a job to do, but also the trading standards and the enforcement agencies have a job to do as well.
Right, let's get Sheila in on that. So Pete is proposing that you make the packaging less attractive to kids, and that he gets and his organisation gets its house in order. And you must welcome that.
Well, I welcome plain packaging for e-cigarettes. The Scottish Grocers Federation actively opposed that for tobacco, so it's nice to see that they've caught up with that one. We think e-cigarettes are tobacco-related products and should be treated in terms of visibility and marketing and advertising in the same way as tobacco. And I think the words healthy and mature are doing a lot of heavy lifting in what the Scottish Grocers Federation is saying.
OK, and Pete, you've stopped short at saying disposable vapes should be banned, and that is something that the Scottish Government is considering.
Look, we don't want a nanny state, we don't want everything coming out and saying, look, this should be banned and that should be banned and that should be the answer to everything. I think we should have a mature debate about it, and we should all recognise that we've got a job to do here. That is the best way forward. And Sheila knows fairly well that we've worked with her hand in hand in the past, and she should recognise that the SGF have always been prepared to work with agencies and will work with the government.
Sheila, what's your response to that? It should be about mature debate, not banning them outright, because they do serve a purpose for people trying to give up smoking.
I think mature debate, absolutely welcome that. But the problem is, when you listen to the Scottish Grocers Federation, what you are hearing is their tobacco industry members. They're Platinum Plus member Japan Tobacco International, and they're Gold members the other three major UK tobacco companies. They are not taking meaningful steps to address the failure in terms of test purchase, which is 1 in 5 shops, according to trading standards. And they are opposing things like restricting flavours, which many, many countries have done and are doing, because flavours primarily appeal to kids.
Sheila, just to be clear, you want to see disposable vapes banned?
We absolutely do, because they are environmentally disastrous. They're near impossible to recycle effectively. They are creating addiction among children and young people, and very young children, primary schools, lower secondary schools, where we haven't really seen much of an issue with tobacco until recent years with e-cigarettes.
I mean, Pete, you're saying that, your industry should get its house in order. I mean, why are you just saying that now, first of all? And B, why would you not back the idea of reducing the flavours of them, and that, because that's very appealing to kids, it's been proven?
Well, let's be honest. I mean, what Sheila's talking about is absolute nonsense. She forgets that her own organisation is actually funded by the Scottish Government to lobby against the government. And let's be absolutely honest that we have about over 120 corporate companies that are members of the SGF. So
but let's get back to the point. Let's get back to the point I made there. Why are you just saying now that your house should be put in order?
Look, we have had Challenge 25 in place. And we've had that in place for over 30 years. It was the SGF that actually introduced that. What we're saying is, look, when people turn around and say that retailers are selling to underage children, we forget that vaping is sold by chemist shops, by butchers shops, by hairdressers. They're everywhere, and we forget that it's not just us. You know, when we talk about retail, it's absolutely everywhere. So we should all get our house in order, and we should ensure that the tobacco register is enforced properly by the trading standards. We should also ensure that.
Okay. I mean, Sheila, should it not be about better enforcement of the law rather than banning the disposable vapes?
Not for disposables, because they are environmentally and in children's terms an utter disaster. About 69% of them are being used by underage vapers, and the major funding that comes to Scottish Grocers Federation is from tobacco companies. They could withdraw the gantries that they pay for from the shops that are found to be selling underage and kill that, and they're not doing it. And the Scottish Grocers Federation, unfortunately, is voicing all the tobacco industry arguments, is talking about illicit. There isn't data on illicit. There's real problems with legally sold e-cigarettes not being compliant with the regulations.
Okay, and Pete, I mean, you are a business organisation. Clearly, it would be bad for business if they were banned. That's the bottom line, isn't it?
Look, it's a legal product, and it's a way of making sure that people can get away from smoking. And vaping has been seen to be the best solution. And it is a way to ensure that the government's own smoke-free zone by 2034 is reached. And that's the bottom line.
Okay, and we will have to leave it there. We could talk for much longer than this, maybe come back another time. Sheila and Pete, thank you very much indeed for joining us.